Hello everyone, good evening. So we'll begin now. There will be some delay because of live streaming, and I can see here that 138 have voted and 33% are yes, and most of them have not watched the playlist till now. So we'll begin now. There will be some delay because of live streaming, and I can see here that 138 have voted and so I will start with some of the concept first. Maybe we'll take 10 or 20 minutes so that you all are aware of the things that we have discussed in Python programming playlist. So the basic concept that we have in Python programming. So first concept we discussed were numbers and strings. Second thing, some data structures of Python and data structures that we have in Python are following like list, tuple, and dictionary. So these are important things that we have discussed in video lectures. And final thing, file handling. So in the first year syllabus, we don't have much things to discuss. It's very basic, right? So we have discussed only these things. So let's talk about numbers and string first. You are well about you are well aware about numbers. So you can perform some calculations in your terminal. So the things that you can use, if you are using Windows, you will get IDLE in Windows, and in Mac and Linux you will get terminal, right? So these are things that you'll get in Windows, Mac and Linux, and other than these things you don't need to install anything. You can do everything in these, right? Like in Linux you have a terminal here, and in the terminal keep in mind that you are using Python 3. If you are using Python 2 you need to change that version. And how do you know that which version you are using? You can write Python hyphen version. This command may or may not work in a system like this. You can see command Python not found. That means I do not have Python 2. If you have Python 2 installed, this Python hyphen version will work on your system. So in my system, Python 3.8.10 is installed, right? So first basic thing, you can write Python 3 in your terminal, and you can see these three arrows, right? And you can you can run everything in this terminal. Suppose you want to add 2 plus 3, you can write like this: 3 plus 4, like this, 4 into 5, sorry, 4 into 5, 20, and so on. So basically you can perform calculation on this terminal for division. If you are using 4 divided by 5, it is coming out 0.8. But if you do 4 double slash 5, this is integer division. So this is all about numbers. We are not going to work much on numbers right now, but this is what you can do. You can also take input in variables like a, you can take 10, b equal to 20, and then you can perform calculation using these numbers, right? Other than this, you can take input using input function. So just enter here, enter a number, and you can input number using this. This will give you a message, and just take a variable x, x equal to. Now this message is coming to you, and you can enter like 12. Now x is 12, and similarly you can do with another variable. Let us suppose take another variable y, enter another number 13, and now see x plus y is 12, 13. So this is not correct, right? There is something that we should do. So what we have to do, you can make x as integer. So x equal to int x. It is basically typecasting. You might have done this thing in C also. And let me make it integer now. Now you can see x plus y is 25. So that's how it works, right? I will not use terminal much because using terminal you will not be able to access these nodes. So what I am going to do, I have created a Jupyter notebook file for you. So here we'll do everything we are going to do today, and then I will give this file to you, or what I will do, I will just push it to GitHub. Here is my GitHub profile. So we have all the Python files here. If you click on one file, you will see that whatever I have done before in previous lectures, all is saved here, right? So if you have any doubts or queries in these things, you can ask us. Okay, so today evening you will see this file on GitHub. I am putting this link on channel, so you can go to GitHub profile. If you have any queries, you can write here. Okay, now let's begin with string things. Strings are very important in Python. So strings are like, suppose I make a string st. You don't need to create strings like C or any integer like you do in C, because in C you write something like this: int C equal to, and then you provide some value to this. But in Python we don't do this. Here you have to write st and just give a string, suppose Python, right? Now you have multiple functions. Some of the function you can check using dir function. One of the student asked using Google form that what is dir. So it basically give you some attributes about a object or a function. So if I pass st inside dir, you can see these are attributes or function inside this st or string, we can say, right? So here you can see we have some functions, and I already know that there is a length function, so I don't need to look at this. But yes, there is a length function for the string. Okay, and there are these things, upper and lower and all these things. Suppose you want to convert into upper, so st dot upper will convert it into upper. And suppose you have something in uppercase, you want to convert it to into lowercase, so you can use lower function. So you can see here is upper and somewhere you have lower also, right? And there are other things like is alpha, is asci, and so on. We are not going to discuss all these things here, but if you want to find out the length of string, you can write len and st, right? Now one thing that is important in strings is its indexing. One student asked this thing in Google form. So suppose you have Python. This is a string, right? So in array you might have read that we have indexing starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Suppose this is st. So if you write st 0, you will get p. This is clear to everyone, I hope, right? But in Python, there is one more important thing, and that is negative indexing. So negative indexing basically begins from here: -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. So Python basically provide two kind of indexing: negative and positive. So let's see how it works. st, if you write st5, you will get n, and if you write st -1, you will get n again. So you can use any of these indexing, right? So you don't need to get confused in this. Python is a easy language. So some of the things are like you use if you are used to C, C++ right now, you might be facing some difficulties here that how Python could be so easy, and you could feel like how this thing is happening, right? So if you want to feel those things, and if your basics are clear of C, just understand that there is a function which is providing us these things. Just try to implement lower functions in C. So what you are going to do, you are going to get a sky code of a character and then do some manipulation with that character, right? Plus minus 32, you might remember that thing. So you do that thing. Clear? So one question asked by a student is, how do we get to know about these function? One thing is, you can read the documentation. Just let me tell you about documentation. So here is the documentation Python tutorial, and once you go to Python tutorial, you will read about strings or list or anything else. So most of the things you will find out here, right? So string methods, and these are methods that string uses, right? You don't need to use all these functions, but yes, if you want to use some of them, you can go to documentation and read about this. Let's discuss about upper and lower that we have seen before. So you can see lower function is here. It is returning a copy of the string with all cased character converted to lowercase. And similarly, uppercase or upper function is going to do, right? Let me search using Control F. Here is the upper function, right? So there are a lot of functions that are doing some things and we are not aware about them. But you can go to documentation. You might also say that why we need to go to documentation. In the even in the industry, what you are going to do when there is some change in a programming language or there is some update, you always go to documentation and read about that. because programming language is written by someone else. You need to understand the rules, what that programming language is doing, what that particular function is doing, and then you have to apply that. Don't try to think that why this function is not doing something like what you are thinking, right? Because that function is made to do that thing. Suppose we have a function lower, right? We have a function lower, and it converts all uppercase to lowercase. You pass p to it, and it convert small p, right? Similarly, upper function is there. Suppose it take small a and converts it to capital A. So these functions are made to do, or made to perform something like this. If you are given uh, permission to change this function, you can certainly change their behavior, right? And you might make this lower to perform something else. Maybe you pass a to this and it can change it to a, right? So this is what developer has made to do, right? So asking questions something like this, why this function is doing so, might be difficult to answer because that is developer task, what they have done, or that is the programming language that is doing, right? Sometime a function in one programming language might be different from another programming language. So that is implementation of that particular programming language. Okay. One student is asking how can you change the background of editor? Depend it depend on the editor, right? So in settings you will see that you can change the color. I'm not changing color of this editor, this pad, writing pad right now, but I think yeah, you can see paper background. There is something, and then paper color. You can see I can change it to something else, maybe red, but I do not want to, or maybe I can make it yellow, but I don't want to change it. Okay. One question is asked, sir, is the live session video will be available after it ends? I will see. You just attend the live session as of now. I will see if I should provide you the video or not. I can see very few students are there. Okay, one question is about indentation. Okay, I will talk about indentation also. But we were talking about some strings. And one thing that is remaining here is, you can see, there is one thing in strings. We have string Python. So these are three things here. One is start, one is end, and one is step. So let me comment it. So what we can do here, st, if you start with 0 and you go to maybe 4 and you write 0 here. So we are basically doing slicing here, and it is saying slice cannot be 0. Okay, I should make it 1 at least. So you can see pyth is here. If I leave it without number here, whole string will be there. But one important thing that I want to tell you here is this st, and if you leave this first thing, it means we are starting with 0, and then at the end if I write -1, it means we should go till end, right? But whatever we write here, it leaves that particular index and go one before that. So you can see pytho and n is left, right? So here we are using positive and negative indexes together. Again, you can see write 0 here, and maybe let me check the length of this string first. This is 6. So when length is 6, it means last index is 5, and you will get this same output as you got in the line 11, pytho. If you want to get whole string, there is another way. Go till 6, and now you'll get Python, right? So this was about strings. There are some functions. You can also split the string. Let me make another string st1 and write Python is very good language, or very easy language I can write. And st1 dot split is a function. It's a very helpful function. By default it takes a space here and split this thing on basis of space, and whatever this split function returns is a list. Okay, so let me store this thing in a list. Maybe I can make it splitted string, and now let me copy this splitted string from here, right? And same thing, you can, same function len can be applied to this splitted string, and you can see length is 5. Okay, so this was about strings. I have already given you YouTube video, so you can see them and keep asking your doubts here so that I can answer particular questions. Some of the questions that has been asked by some students are here. So here question asked is, let me take this from here, copy it here. Subjects are C++, Python, Java, JavaScript, C, and PHP. This is a list actually, right? So let me print the list first, or just do some experimentation with this. Check the type of these subjects, and this is a list. If you want to check length of this subjects, you can see 6 elements are there. Now you can see if PHP in subject, print PHP exists in current SAM, else PHP not in this SAM. And there is a question behind that. If is a condition, so why it is working like a loop? As we can see, it is checking PHP in each list item. Okay, so this question is similar to what we discussed above. Actually, if condition in Python works like this, you are providing a list here, so it will check every item in the list, or maybe tuple or anything else. If even if you provide a string here, it will check that also. I will show you the example, but this works this way. Okay, that's why Python is easy. Let me make a list subjects. So you can also check for item in subjects. Item is a variable that I am taking right now. If you want to do this thing using for loop, what you have to do for item in subject, if item equal to PHP, and then you can write print PHP exist in this SAM. I want to write PHP not in this SAM. So what I have to do, when this loop ends, when this loop ends, then I can write that PHP not in this SAM. But writing here will not work exactly. There are things that I have to follow. Maybe I can take a variable, maybe a flag variable kind of thing, exist equal to false in the beginning. If item in PHP, I can make it exist equal to true, and then I can print this message and break it out of loop. Okay, and at the end, if exist, it means if it exists, but I am checking false of it, so I will make it if not exist, and then like this, PHP exists in current SAM. So that's how it works. There is a question from one student. What is this indentation? So indentation is in Python whenever we are writing, let me tell you here. Let me give you an example of C programming language because uh, you are in first year, so you might be well aware of C programming. So when you write if condition, suppose you are writing if I equal to 10, and then you want to write two statement, maybe one printf and another printf. So what you do in this case, you basically give this curly braces here. But in Python, we don't have any such thing, right? In Python, we don't have any such thing. So what Python has given us? Python has given us one thing. If I equal to 10. So after such kind of statement, if it is a if statement, else statement, for loop, while loop, do while loop, in all such statements, we have to put a colon here, and then after that, when we are coming to next line, just give four space, and then you can write print and some message here, again four space, some message here. So till the time you are giving these four spaces, till the time you are giving these four spaces, all these things are inside if. And once you move out of this and you start writing here print something like this is out of if loop, this is out of if, okay. And similarly with the for loop and while loop and so on. So let me give you an example of this. Create a variable equal to 10 if variable is less than 11 or maybe less than equal to 10. You can see in IDs we generally get these four spaces automatically. So print hello. You can also write print hi. But once we go out, print and we write by, this does not depend on this condition now. How? Let me make this less than only. So it means if variable is less than 10, we will be printing hello and hi. Now you can see we are only printing by here because this variable is not less than 10. But we are printing by because this is not inside if. So that's why we are providing indentation here. Okay. Okay, one student is asking that we take classes from 9 to 5 and you are taking it after 5. So how will we live our life? Okay. So think about me as well. I also take classes from 9 to 5. I am the one or the teachers like us take your classes from 9 to 5 and I am taking your class after 5. But tell me if you are comfortable between 9 to 5 and next time if you have any doubts I can take between 9 to 5 as well. Okay. So one student is asking how to do code in IDE. And one question is it required to read the book for learning Python as you are beginner? Yes, you can read the book also. There are multiple book in Python, so you can read the books also, or you can read the documentation and you will learn most of the things. Just do some practice. Don't worry. Python is easier than C. One student is asking, is Python compulsory or C is enough? Uh, s- Basically, there are multiple uh, tasks which can be performed easily by C, and there are things that Python can perform easily, right? Let me tell you one thing. Suppose you have a string and you want to split it on the basis of commas. Suppose string 1 or maybe I have already made string 1 above, so let me make string 2. Python is very easy language. Okay, and I want to split this string on the basis of comma. So this function is enough in Python, but let's do it in C, and you will face a lot of issues, or maybe you need to write a lot of lines of code. Similarly, with the swapping, you have two variables a equal to 10, or what you can do, a b equal to 10 20. You can write something like this. It will assign a and b 10 and 20. And then if you want to print these, you can write a b. You can see a and b are 10 and 20. But if you want to swap these values, what you can do, a b equal to b comma a, and now values are swapped. One student is asking, can we use PyCharm? Yes, you can use PyCharm. One is saying, take the class on Teams. Okay, we can we can take the class on Teams also, but I use YouTube. I thought there are a lot of students, so Teams can actually uh, accommodate only 350 student. Okay, so if you student are more, then that's why I used this particular platform. So you are asking book. I will tell you the book. Don't worry. Just attend the session. I will actually send you the book also. I will send you the PDF. Okay. Okay. One student want to know about the Jupyter. So Jupyter, we are working on Jupyter. What do you want to know about this? Basically, this is a kind of ID. But what we do, whenever we write something here, like we are writing this statement, we are getting output, and this will be saved for you. So it's very helpful that you are able to see input as well as output. Now, one student has asked a question that he want to work on IDE. So basically, I will use Sublime editor. So let me use Sublime, and I will create some functions here. Maybe I will print something for you. Let me create a maybe just a function even, and then create a file name even.py. Make it bigger. So when you are working on an editor and you want to create a function, you can write something like this: definition of a function. You write def and then function name. In this case, I want to create a function is even. So basically, it's going to get a number, and it will check this number is even or not. So how do you check a number is even or not? If n percentile 2 equal to 0, so it means number is even. So you can return true in this case, else you can return false. So this is a function. This is a function which is finding out whether a number is even or odd. And then if you want to run this, if name equal to main, we have not studied about this thing. If name equal to main, we can call is even from here as well. And let's do it for 2 and then print. for 2. Just put quotes here. Okay, so you can see what we have to do now. Just go to terminal. I hope you are able to see this. And so what you have to do, you have to use Python command and use that function name, and it is saying Python does not exist, so I will use Python 3 now. And you can see we are getting true because this 2 right now here is a even number. Okay, yes, we can use VS Code. Someone is asking multiple times that whether you can use VS Code or not. Yes, we can use VS Code. Let me show you the VS Code also. Why you are so much worried about VS Code? Where is my file? Even. So here is the VS Code. You can use this. Okay. Now do one thing. Uh, what we are doing right now, let me make it 3 and run it again. Okay. So, okay. What we have to do, we have to write return false here. And that's why it was showing none. Now run it again. And now it is false. 3 is not even, right? But one thing you can notice here that we are continuously uh, changing the number here. So I don't want to do that. So for that you can import sys, and using sys you can extract command line argument. So what you have to do, you have to just provide number from here, maybe 2, 3 or any number you want to change. So this is about command line. Some student asked you this thing. So let me print all these numbers first. Print sys dot argv and 0. So you can see which one is the zeroth argument, and even dot py is zeroth argument. So this is zeroth argument, file name, then this is first argument. So what you have to do here, make it 1, and every time you want to check whether a number is either even or odd, you have to just pass a number here. So what you can do, just take it from here and remove this print line from above, uncomment this. But one thing you are going to notice here is that this sys.argv is a string, so make it integer. Now run this program again. You can see true, make it 21, it is false, make it 20, and so on. So that's how it works. So I hope you are aware with the command line arguments, sys library, and indentator also. Okay, so how Jupyter is linked with Python? You just need to install Anaconda. You can install Anaconda, and Jupyter is inside that. I have not done anything extra. And what you can do, uh, if you don't want to install this thing, uh, Anaconda in your system, what you can do, Python collab you can use. Okay, so collab if you are using, You can put all your programs in Google Cloud. Okay. Okay, one student is asking which is the best platform for practicing Python. Mm, best platform, I mean, you can watch some tutorials and then create some projects, right? So there is no such one thing, and there is one data camp website that gives an interactive platform for practicing these things. But if you keep practicing, that's not how it is going to work. So what you have to do, you can just learn some of the basics. You can learn some of the basics and then create some projects. So by creating projects, you are going to learn much. Let me tell you few questions and then we'll try to solve these questions. I will also provide you the PDF of question and notes at the end. Let me create a question for you. What we are going to do, this is multi-line comment. Write a program that takes n as input. N is a number. Okay, you can also take this number as command line argument. But as right now I'm using Jupyter notebook, so I don't need to use command line argument here. You can take this number as input and creates a list of tuples. Just see the question for all the positive numbers which is less than or equal to n in such a way that even and odd is mentioned with each number. And how it is mentioned? For example, n equal to 4. So we need to create a list of tuples. So it is list and we have to create tuple like this: one tuple, two tuple, three tuple, and four tuples. Okay, and we have to make it like this: one, this is odd, so write odd; two, it's even, so write even; then three, make it odd; and then fourth, make it even. So this is the question that we need to solve right now. Neha, can you repeat the question? Which search bar you are saying? Where I search Anaconda or Google Colab you are saying maybe. You can check it. Python Colab I searched. One student is saying that Telegram is not working. It's not so. Telegram is working. Okay. Okay, so let's move ahead and try to solve this question. So what we have to do, we have to take a input from the user first. You can write enter a number and you can save it in n. Then you have to loop starting from 1 and go up to n for n in range, and we can begin with 1 and go up to n. So we need to write n plus 1, and for each number what we have to do, if a number is odd or even, and we already created a function here, you can see. So we can copy this function, right? Just write this function here. I will remove these things. I need to correct the indent, so you can see it is correcting automatically, right? Now try to call this function is even for which, for n. Okay, so for n in range 1 to n plus 1, it means we are beginning with 1 and going up to n, and now we are calling this function is even. Okay, it will return either true or false. If this is even, it's going to return true. If it is false, it's going to return false. So in case of even, it will be true. In case of odd, it will be false. So if it is even, we need to create a tuple. You can see we are creating tuple here, right? These are tuples. So what is tuple? First thing is n, the number, and second thing is, because this time number is even, so we need to write even here, right? You can try printing first. Otherwise, you can try printing number. I need to copy it from here and then write out here. So let me take a input first, number 4, and there is some problem, cannot concatenate int and string. So where we are trying to do so, okay, here. So n is integer and even is string, and that's why there is some problem in this. So basically what we can do, let me make some changes here. Let me make a tuple one and copy this thing and print t1, else make t1 equal to this thing and then print t1. Again there is some error. Okay, gaming war is saying telegram link is not working. I'm not sure why it is not working. There are two links, one is for channel, one is for group. So if you see channel, you can, I can write there, you can read the updates, but in case of group you can write your queries there. So if you want to do that, you can do. Okay, okay, so it's facing some issues here. Let me convert it to string and then see 4. Again, there is some issue. I think issue is somewhere else. Okay, okay, issue is here actually. I need to convert it to integer. It's fine here. So whenever we are using input, it will provide us a string. So what we have to do, we need to convert it to integer. Let me run it again, make it 4, and now you can see the answer, right? But what we have to do, we have to create a list of tuples. So list of tuples means you should have a list here in which you are going to append these tuples. So I will make its name list of tuples. It's a blank list, and wherever we are printing this thing, we need to append that tuple to this t1. Again, here also try it again. List object is not callable. Okay, append is there that I left. So append 4. Okay, so program has executed successfully. We also not need this thing here, right? I will remove this. Wait a while. Just try to print this list of tuples in next line when your program has executed successfully. Now run this again, and here is the output. So 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, 4 is even. Clear? So now let's remove this thing. We don't need this t1 variable here. Just put it here. Similarly for this odd thing, just remove this t1, and this program is going to be executed as it was working before. Now you can see we have the output which is similar to previous one. Now let's make a small change. When n is being divided by 2, we are getting remainder 0, then we are returning true. We can also remove this thing. When n is being divided by 2 and remainder is not, or remainder is something, it means if remainder is something, it is 1. Because in case when you are dividing by 2, either it's 0 or it's 1. So when it is something, that means it's 1, and in case of 1, number should be odd. So return false from here and return true from here. And now execute the program again, maybe for 10 values, and see, here is the output. So that's how you create the program. Okay, so I hope now you are aware about the indentation part. Now you are aware of the if else thing, right? So if you have any more questions, you can ask in the live chat. Okay, if you have no questions, there are some questions that are in form that a student asked. Let me copy this. One student asked that how this program is working. So let me copy this program here. While name is not equal to and I think there is a name variable also. Name is blank. Name is blank while name is not equal to and there are some indentation issues. So I will correct these. If name equal to then it's saying pass. We don't need to pass here. because there is a print statement after that, and I think that print statement is inside this if, and after that else. So name is blank. If name is not and, we'll be entering something, and if name equal to and, it will say name, hello name, or whatever you say. So let me first run this program and then we'll understand what it does. And it is saying hello and. So the program has executed, and now I will write my name, and it was saying, wasn't it fun? So see what it is doing here. Name is blank in the beginning, or it has one space, you can say. If name is not equal to and, if name is not equal to and, the program will keep on executing. You can check it again. Maybe I will write Python. It will again ask me to write, or maybe take input and write JavaScript. And again it is saying to enter something. So here is the condition. It is saying if name is not equal to and, keep asking this thing. But as soon as you enter name equal to and, it will say hello and, right? And then it is not going to print, wasn't it fun? But when this is and, it will check that name is and now, and it will come out of this loop. Okay, so let me put and here, and now it is out of this loop. So that's how this function is working. Jyoti is asking that, so how long will it take to learn Python programming? Okay, so basically I can't say that it will take 2 or 3 days or so on. I will just advise you, do one thing, just try to learn some basics, create some projects. Nobody is expert, but you will learn sufficient programming in maybe 1 or 2 months, right? So that you can work on real life projects. Just try to learn the basics of Python. Okay. One question that one student asked was difference between list and tuples. So list, we write list in this way, and I will write tuple one. And first difference is in the bracket. That's how we write these things. I will tell you more things as well. Same input I'm providing in both the things, in list and tuples. If you want to print them, list one, print tuple one. If you want to check the types, list one, it is a list. If you want to check type of tuple, you can see it's tuple. So it is looking similar till now. Check the length of list, check the length of tuple. So everything is working similarly, right? So there is no difference till now. Now try to do one thing. List one dot append 6, and now try to print list one, and you can see we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and check the length of list one, and it is 6. So you can see there is some change in list one. Now try to do same thing in tuple. So tuple one dot append, I want to append 6, and it is saying tuple object has no attribute append. So this is the basic difference. Basically you can change the list at any moment of time, but you can't change the tuple. That is the difference. Okay, or you can say list is mutable, but tuple is immutable. One thing is another here, string is also immutable. Let me give you an example for this. We have st python. Let me make this p as m. Basically I want to change Python to Mython. You might have seen this example in videos also. And you can again see string object does not support item assignment. So it is also immutable. You can't change it. But if you want to create another variable, you can do so. Maybe st3, I'm creating another variable. So what you can do, make m plus st, and beginning from 1 till end, you can extract or you can slice everything from string. And now try to print st3 and you will see that we have Mython now. Similarly, you can do with tuple also. One student is asking that we cannot remove element of tuple. Yes, we cannot remove. You can't change anything in tuple. If you want to change anything, you have to basically create a new tuple, just like we created a new string. Xavier is doing good work. It's very interesting to see it so that students are having fun and studying at the same time. So keep on doing that. Okay, any more questions? I think I have one question on help and dir. What are negative indices? We have talked about this, and explain the ternary operator in Python. Okay, so let me talk about help function first. So inside help you can pass any object and you will be knowing about that. So if you want to know about dir, pass dir to help and it will tell you details of this function or whatever this thing is. So help on built-in function dir in module built-ins, right? If you want to know about dir, I have already told you that it tells you the attributes and function of that particular thing. So write dir and pass st to it, and these are functions and attribute of strings, right? So this will be same for everything, means every string, not every list or tuple, but for every string it will be same. Okay. Jyoti, there will be more live session if students are more. I can see that there are very less students today. I expected more, but if students are less, then we need to see this whether we'll be conducting more doubt session or not. If students are less today, this means most of the students have already got everything and they have no doubts. But if you have doubts, you can surely ask here. Then we'll talk about ternary. So ternary operator, you might have read this in C as well. And now we are going to talk about ternary operator in Python. So even one Google search will tell you what a ternary operator is. Let us suppose take an example. Find minimum or maybe maximum of two numbers. So let us take two variable a, b, 2 and 3. If a is greater than b, print a is bigger, right? Else print b is bigger. And let me give you some space here, and it is saying 3 is bigger. So this is one way of doing such kind of questions, but another is using ternary operator. What you have to write, I am taking a variable maximum and I have a and b as 2 and 3. So let me make some condition first. If a greater than b, it means if a is greater than b, then a is maximum, else b is maximum. and we are done. Just write maximum is bigger, and we'll get the same output. So that's how it works. It is actually an alternative to if else. Okay, any more doubts? Okay, one student is asking that do we have do while in Python? So we don't have any do while. Okay, but you can use while loop and do what you do using do while, right? So if you want to have an example, I can give you that. Let me create a variable, maybe I, and make it 10. So first thing what you have to do, make it while true. So while true means it is going to execute first time, right? The way do while does. So this loop is going to execute first time. Then print maybe this variable I, and after that if you want to make anything in this, you can just do it, decrement it, and then you can check condition if I is less than maybe 1, and then you can break out of it. So this is going to work similar to do while loop. So first time it is going to run anyhow. Let me show you. Just go here and make it -1. So this is less than 1, right? But still we'll get the output, and that's how do while works. Okay, one student is asking, sir, what kind of project we can make using the basic understanding of Python? Okay, so there are some projects. Let me tell you using this. So do one thing. First thing, you can create a tic-tac-toe program. I hope you all know about this. You basically don't need any GUI for this. If you want to create, you can create, but with basic understanding, you can create a tic-tac-toe program. First, you can try it in C or maybe C++, and then using Python, you can see how it is working. You can take some inputs from the command line arguments as well. So for this, you can see the projects, Python projects, or maybe project link that I have given you in the website. So there I have taught about this project. There is a hangman problem. You can read about this. I will also provide you the PDF. If you need it, I will provide it to you. You can solve it using Python. Other thing that you can do is guess the number game. You can read about this guess the number game. Okay. Other th other than this, you can try working on some CSV files. So what I will do, I will provide you some CSV files. This is a bigger project than these things, but it will be very interesting. Using Twitter data, which you can get in the form of JSON from the Twitter if you use its API. I have also uploaded its video. You can see that as well. So using Twitter data, you will get the JSON data, or you will get Twitter data in JSON format. You can create a program that convert the JSON data into CSV and extract only useful information, right? So in Twitter data, you can see that you have lot of metadata. You don't need this. Just create a small HTML page. Of course, you need other things like JS or CSS for that, or maybe I will not tell you this thing at this moment. Going to web might be another domain, but what you can do, you can just take a JSON file and convert it into a CSV file, right? And then so important information, all you can do using basic Python that I am teaching you in form of a table. So what is it? What is this table format? So basically you can do user ID, then here all the user IDs will be there, date of tweet, then tweet, hashtags that are used in that particular tweet, and mentions. We can extract lot of things from that, but basically you can only extract these things. Okay, or if you do not want to show these things in table format, you can extract all these things from JSON data and save to CSV file. You can say that why this is interesting project, what we can do with that. But all the data analysis project start with this thing, right? With the analysis of JSON and CSV files. One student is asking that we'll have Python in third sem. So basically, if you are in some specialization, you might have Python, but in the course, yes, there is no Python. So this is the last time you are studying Python in your syllabus. But other than this, you have to do it on your own. Okay, so I think we have covered almost all the doubts that you had. If you still have some doubts, you can write your queries in the live chat and I will answer that. You have 5 minutes more. If you want to ask anything, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll wind up this now. For any more discussions or anything you want to ask me, you can drop your queries in the Telegram. Okay, I think we'll wind up now. I think no one has any question. On 23rd, we'll have a live session on Git and GitHub. If you want to know about these things, GitHub is a very interesting thing which is used for version control, and I heavily use that. So you can join that also. Okay, so see you on 23rd. Till then, thank you so much. Okay, there is some. I will change the name of this file. Sometimes spaces create some problems. So I'm pushing all the code to GitHub. Now you can go to my GitHub profile, and here you can see that we have this file Python programming live out session. Okay, so I think we are done with this now. See you on 23rd. Thank you so much. This now. See you on 23rd.